We're talking to Lynn Shaw from Lynn's Warriors, lynswarriors.org, on YouTube at Lynn's Warriors, and on X at Lynn's_Warriors. Now, I mentioned before in my opening introduction, my proem, my prolegomenon, that regarding the word truth. Well, here's a truth that nobody wants to discuss. We could learn so much from China as far as what they're at least ostensibly doing regarding their belief of how problematic this is. Also, how they're pushing back regarding AI in general. By the way, AI is going to be one of the biggest flops anybody has ever seen.
I hope
it
so.
is going to be, it is colossal. And a lot of the people are wondering, a lot of the folks who are involved in AI, the Altmans and others, and people from Anthropic and others are now worrying about their own personal safety. And by the way, we never advocate violence of anybody for any reason whatsoever. But they're also thinking that one of the things is that same mentality that allegedly propelled the likes of Luigi Mangione might be pushing some other lunatic somewhere who looks at AI as dangerous, which more and more people are doing. Have you picked up on that as well?
Yeah, I agree. Just today, there was release from China that they are going to control their AI chatbots, the artificial intelligence. We talk a lot about that at the Warriors. These chatbots, these machines that, kids are creating, especially for free online, okay? And the chatbot can be their little friend. But remember, it's a machine. I always say that because people say friend, right? That's like a commonly used term. Chatbot can be your friend. That's what big tech pushes. And I remind everybody, these are machines. They don't have emotions, okay? They are not human. But you can create this with the artificial intelligence in any kind of likeness you want. You can start programming them with the kind of language you want. A team can have a chatbot that tells it everything it wants to hear. You're brilliant, you're beautiful, or you're handsome, you're the smartest, and that's their new friend. Further isolation, and we know we have a very well-documented youth mental health crisis, which is another reason HHS should take this under their wing, because this is a public health issue. We have studies about this, mental health, okay? So China is saying, you know what, we don't want our kids especially. We're going to now, put our foot down to these AI chatbots. So China is actually doing a much better job. They limit their children to 40 minutes a day. The content is educational. It can be science. It can be math. It can be about their country, nature, all these things, and then it shuts down. Okay? I'm sorry. We got to draw the line in the sand now and do something in America. We are lagging behind. Our children are being harmed. Our families are being harmed. We need something similar to this.
Right.
But there is tremendous pushback. Listen, over 80%, I think it's 82%. Remember, numbers are always higher. This is what's reported of the American public do not want artificial intelligence. And you are absolutely correct. I don't even want to manifest it or put it out there. Somebody is going to go berserk about this. And something's going to happen, because this cannot sustain what is going on. And that's why it's so important for the public, to help us, or to understand. Helping us means in your own home, with your own child, right? Your own family member. That's all we're asking, because this is a national child safety and public health issue, really crime against kids. And it's an emergency, and we're going to keep calling it that, because millions of kids are using these products every day, and it's no longer simply, a family technology problem. Big tech is putting out harmful products, and nobody is stopping them.
It's also on. We're talking to Lynn Shaw from lynswarriors.org. We don't want to make this. This is kind of oxymoronic or strange, but we don't want to make this to be overly and overtly political. But sometimes it's hard to read everybody from the president to the first lady to Congress to the Senate they will sometimes act aggressively. In fact, if you wrote a book about how to be an advocate, how to be a warrior in your own right, understand that the first thing that government does is it lies to you with the names of their legislation. No Child Left Behind, the National Defense Authorization Act. It sounds great. Freedom of the the Patriot Act. The Patriot. Who in their right mind could ever find fault with the Patriot Act? So if you have something that goes Kids Online Resource Act, Protect Our Kids Act, it's just a name, and you say without duty of care. Imagine there being a speeding statute that has no penalty, that doesn't tell you what to do. It just says speeding is wrong. Well, what happens if I speed? Nothing. Do I have any care? Can I be held responsible? No. But this is just a statement we have about not liking speeding. So this is what people don't know about. Now, is it big tech that's behind this? What is the motivation? Because I'm so naive. Politicians, if there were no outside lobby bothering them, and if there was no political repercussion, they'd probably do the right thing and say, of course we're going to protect our kids. But it must be big tech. It must be Silicon Valley. What do you think?
I mean, absolutely. First of all, everything we talk about, we are pro-innovation, pro-technology. This is the way of the world at the Warriors. We are not trying to stop anything, ban anything. And plus, it's all a bipartisan issue, Lionel. It belongs to no political party. However, when you work on these issues, you have to have legislation and then community action. So, of course, we have to have some rules and regulations around this runaway big tech. Okay, they've had a free reign for 30 years now. What I think we need to do right now, I want to stick a little bit with going back to about HHS, because I'm again racking my brain trying to figure out how we can be effective, how we can save kids, protect families, work on all of this. Washington is the biggest disappointment to me right now. We have some really good people working there. No, we want the truth. I'm giving you the truth here. We have some good people who come to me and they're so disillusioned and they're ready to, leave. They're not being heard. They're not being, nobody's addressing these beautiful solutions they're putting out there. And you have to ask yourself, why? Why? And it's a very crass answer. The answer is because of money, because big tech right now has all the money, all the power. Okay? People like money and power. They've got the funding to have lobbyists running all over Capitol Hill, not only for, our members of Congress. We have legislative staffs, everybody. And I'm sorry, money talks. That's what it's all about. And always I like to say, when people leave Congress, they want to go on to maybe be on the board. It used to be of, financial institutions and these types of educational things. Now everybody wants to go big tech. They want to go where the money is, where they know AI is the future. And that's what they think. So right now, that's what we have. We have the money talking. And in the meantime, what happened to America first? Our families first. And so, yes, They lie to your faces. They say they're going to do this, going to do that. I can't tell you how many parents the Warriors have been with on Capitol Hill in these offices. Everybody's helping. Everybody's going to vote one way. And then you see the roll call. You see the votes, and they voted the opposite way. Forget us. What about these parents who have bravely shared stories of their children?
They're furious.